check the control room in the back, make sure that we're good to go. I got the thumbs up. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Welcome, board members, staff, appellates, and citizens to the June 10th, I can't believe it's June 10th already, Mishawaka Board of Zoning Appeals. Introduction of the staff. To my right, we have Donna Witt, our administrative planner. Hi, Donna. Next to Donna is Shad Annis, our associate planner. Hello. To my left, we have Krista Hill, over here, our senior planner. Next to Krista is Derek Spear, our city planner. In the front row, we have Ken Prince, our executive director. Next to Ken is David Bent, our legal counsel. Donna, would you please call the roll?
Mike Compton. Adam Gersbauer.
Here.
Joel Dindu.
Here.
Denise Graves.
Here.
Chris Torty.
Here. Rules of procedure are up on the board and to my right and to my left. First off, we do all of our speaking at the podium. If you have something to say, we do all of our speaking up here. Please come up, leave your name and address very clear so Donna can take that into our official records. Patience for those attending online. However, I don't think there's going to be anybody online for this. So given that, the previous month's minutes, which are May, were there any corrections or additions to those minutes? Nope. All those in favor of approving the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the previous month minutes are approved. Is there any conflict of interest on any of the items today for the board members?
No.
No? All right, moving right along. Gets us into the first one. And keep in mind, we're not the final arbiters of this. It will go to the council. But this is Appeal 25-13, an appeal submitted by Alliance Staffing Global Force, Inc., requesting a use variance for a vacant lot of 1925 North Main Street, Mishawaka, Indiana, to allow for a beauty, barber shop, or small office space in the R1 single-family residential district. Hello.
Hello. Terry Lang from the Whiteman office. Our address is 1402 Mishawaka Avenue in South Bend. Represent the petitioners here. Give you a little background on the site right there. There was a house there over 5 years ago, and the house was tore down, and it's been vacant. The owner of the house to the north purchased this property, and we were approached about doing a really light commercial type thing for like a barber shop, beauty salon, insurance office, something that's low traffic. We met with the city planning department, hashed over what they wanted to see from that perspective, and then also with the engineering department. There was concern as close to the school and to the traffic light right there. They had asked that on our site plan that we would access from the property to the north, which you can see on the plan right there. They've agreed to tear down a nice brick garage that's there to provide access and bring in city utilities, sewer and water. That way we don't have to block traffic on Main Street to do a street cut for putting in the sewer and the water. The site plan you see accommodates all the things that both the planning office and the engineering office wanted to see. And what we're looking to do is to create a building design, something that looks more residential in nature. Across the street, we have the credit union on one corner. We have, I think there's a dental office and an optometrist, if I'm not mistaken, is immediately across the street there. So we're not asking to put in something that's high traffic type situation right there. Obviously, the school's to the south, so we're going to maintain a fence around that southerly portion around the building and fence our retention area in so that it's not an attractive nuisance there for middle school kids coming out and walking down the sidewalk right there. So what we're asking for is a use variance so it will be restrictive in nature to this type of thing. So if we would have went for a general commercial type use, there could be a second or third party down the line that would want to put in a liquor store there right next to the school. So after talking with the planning office, this was the best situation to kind of accomplish what we want, as well as kind of give the city some protection so that it doesn't become something in the future. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you folks may have.
I have a couple. So I'm going to read these, which are the, so it sounds like you've been working with the planning department. They do recommend approval of this appeal. There's 5 things on here. I just want to read these and make sure you're good with all 5. Connect an internal sidewalk to public sidewalk along Main Street.
We have that shown on our plan, yeah, we're
Yep.
going to run it out, yes.
Yep. A minimum landscape buffer 10 foot in width shall be required on the north and west property. The C1 general commercial landscaping standards shall be followed, including a 6-foot opaque fence along the north, west, and south. So that's,
And we agree to that also. The
Yep.
only thing I talked with the engineering is we wouldn't go any farther than the setback line along Main Street there so that it wouldn't be blocking the line of sight for people that would be turning left out onto Main Street right there. So, and they were acceptable to that, so.
okay. The proposed commercial building shall include residential design elements, including pitched roof, porch, residential lighting, and residential windows. Architecture, wood or masonry details shall be provided if residential lap siding is utilized. 1 freestanding sign, which will meet the requirements of Main Street Overlay District. Vehicle access is limited to Colfax, no vehicle access on Main Street.
We agree to all of those, yes.
Yep, okay. Okay. Very good. Any other questions?
The P1 parcel where the residence is currently, obviously, we're demolishing part of their garage to make this happen.
Yes.
Are the residents that are living there, are they excited about this?
Well, they own that property.
They own
and
that property
it's a
behind.
rental house, so they really don't have a lot of say in it, but yes, they've agreed to it.
Okay. And the other property immediately, as I look at the image to the left of the image, there's 105. Have you discussed this with him? Is there going to have a commercial driveway right next to their house as well?
That's the only place city would allow us to put the driveway. So that was kind of the purpose of the meeting here, was to see if there was any concerns. We've obviously agreed to put in the fence and landscaping to screen that area right there. So we're not right up against the line with a building or anything like that.
Okay. That's all I have.
So I
Thank
see
you.
why you did it as a use variance, and then we can really keep control of that.
And that was the intent, was to
Yeah.
make sure that something in the future that would be less desirable
Yeah. You
to
don't
go in
wanna-
at that location.
Yeah. Got it. Any other questions for Mr. Lang?
No.
Nope. Thank you for the presentation. Is there anybody else in the room or online wishing to speak in favor of Appeal 25-13? Hearing none, is there anybody that wished to speak in opposition or have a general question that they would like to ask about this? Nope. Any other information? Mr. City Planner?
Can people who are on the phone,
Oop.
can you hear us?
Hi. Yes.
Hi. I wasn't sure if just being on a phone, you would hear us.
Oh, we can hear you. We can hear you just fine. Yeah,
Okay.
anxious to hear from you. Why don't you give us your name and address?
Terry, you know me. Sheila, Vandy Willie, Chuck White, 102 West Colfax. I'm right at the corner of Colfax and Main, right across the street from where I'm assuming that we're going to tear down that garage at that rental property.
Oop, we're having trouble hearing you. Is your microphone covered?
Can you hear me?
Barely.
I'm
There we
sorry, I
go.
went to the wrong phone.
There we go. We can hear you.
Yeah, it's Sheila Vanderwilly, 102 West Colfax. I am across the street from the rental house. And if you tear down that garage, I'm assuming, of that rental property, for people to go to that barber or beauty shop or whatever it's going to be, where are those people in that house? going to be parking? Because this is a very busy street at school time. And I know right now there's at least 3 cars that belong to that rental property. And they park up on the driveway by that garage. Where are they going to park?
Yeah, we'll address that in the rebuttal. Do you have other questions?
No, that was my concern, because if they need parking spaces, they'll probably be parking in front of my house.
Yeah, we can talk about what parking they have at that property, and then we'll also address that in the right of rebuttal. So we'll answer your question. We'll accumulate these questions and answer them in a little bit, okay?
Oh, all right.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thanks for dialing in. Hang on.
Sure.
Is there anybody else wishing to speak in opposition to Appeal 25-13? Do we want to read the letter you have?
I can read it if you want. It was included in the staff report.
Oh, okay, yep. I saw that as well. Okay,
Oh, there we go. Do you want us to read it, or were you going to read it? Our mics are on now.
pardon me?
Our mics are on now.
Okay, you can read it.
Okay.
All right, this letter is from an individual 2 doors to the west. It says, "My concerns are that although it is being identified as a vacant lot, this is plainly the backyard of the residential home at that address and has been for the 24 years I have resided near it. It has the home as it is. It has the home as it is, north side, another home at the west side, and John Young Middle School at its south side. As it is, the school parking is not adequate, so during pickup and events, many cars are parked on Colfax off of Main, heavily congested. The lot in question is not physically large enough to support both in and out with sufficient parking along with the business structure of nearly any dimension. Almost certainly cars would end up parked on Colfax in front of my house and/or at the school. When at the school, that means that they are parked behind my rear gate. If they were to fit in and out parking, how would this affect the children and crosswalk from the school? Many vacant buildings already exist in town and country alone, which could be used for the party's interest without altering a residential neighborhood. I respectfully would like to see our residential neighborhood remain a residential neighborhood and thus would deny such a request to rezone." It says sincerely, Tim Sharon, and he lives 2 doors to the west facing Colfax.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's have a right of rebuttal. First off, Mr. Prince, could we chat about the parking that residential would have there?
Good
And
evening, Mr. Chairman. Ken Prince, Director of Planning and Community Development. So the lot that is created for the single-family home will be required by ordinance to provide 2 parking spaces on it. So that area it's not shown there, but they're going to have to figure out how to get 2 parking spaces on that side of the building, probably right off the entry drive that's used for the commercial would be used for 2 parking spaces on that area. So that meets our basic code. That's what every single-family residence would have to be provided. Otherwise, they'd be back before you for an additional variance, but we didn't anticipate that when we drafted the staff report. The other advantage of having it under common ownership is the fact that on evenings and weekends, when you're talking about a barber shop, there's likely, if they have more vehicles at the rental property, knowing that it's off hours and it's the same property owner, they would likely have the ability to use the commercial lot for what I would call the overflow. There could be a shared parking arrangement because of the common ownership currently between the two, but the reason why we would require that minimum of 2 is if that front house was ever sold, you can't rely on the commercial parking in perpetuity. It's not tied to the property, so that's why they're required to provide 2 parking spaces for the house.
Okay. And then it's your idea that proposed parking lot would have some shared spots?
Well, I think, the owner, we don't dictate on who parks there. We require the minimum parking by ordinance, which they're showing a meeting. but we fully anticipate and we actually encourage them to use a shared arrangement, very much like downtown where we have commercial businesses and we have municipal parking lots, and we share with, First United Methodist Church is a good example, where it's used for church parking, it's used for commercial parking. We want that same arrangement where it's not exclusive parking, so it helps the neighborhood in terms of keeping the cars off the street.
Okay, any other questions for Executive Director? Nope, thank you.
Thank you.
Right of rebuttal, Mr. Lang, could you come back up, please?
Mr. Prince took all the wind out of my presentation for rebuttal. There is room there on the west side of the house to provide 2 parking spaces there in the L-shaped corner of the house right there, and the ability to park on the adjacent piece if it would be necessary. So I think there's enough room to accommodate all of the concern that the residents have there with regards to that.
So traffic-wise, obviously, there's quite a few spots in there for there. So they would be able to accommodate all of the parking that would be needed
And what you're looking at
at peak
is...
times of anything you're
Yeah,
proposing.
and your business hours are normally 8 to 5, and your residents are coming home and going to work. So it's kind of not going to be utilized 100% all of the time. So I think that would accommodate what's necessary there parking-wise.
And that house that's in the upper right-hand corner, that didn't have 2 parking spots prior, right? It was the garage.
It just had the garage, and then there was a driveway and the street parking.
Okay.
And if you look at the aerial right there, you can see the
Yep.
cars.
Got it. And so, of course, we're voting on just the zoning tonight, a recommendation of the
Correct,
zoning.
yeah.
And, as this progresses, there would be site plans and there would be, layouts of how this is going to look and all of that. And
Correct.
of course, the council is the final arbiter on something like this. But any other questions for Mr. Lang? No, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Any board members wish to speak on this? If not, I will take a motion on 25-13.
I move that we approve Appeal 25-13.
We have a motion and a second. Donna, would you please call for the vote?
Adam Gersbauer,
Yes.
Joel Dindu,
Yes.
Denise Graves.
Yes.
Chris Torty.
Yes, and Appeal 25-13 will move to the council with a favorable rating. Thank you all, and thank you for coming. Moving right along, Appeal 25-14, an appeal submitted by Jeremy Martin requesting a developmental variance for 116 Greenwood Court, Mishawaka, Indiana, to allow for a reduced rear yard setback for a deck.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Jan Coleman. I live at 116 Greenwood Court. Jeremy Martin is my son, and I dwell in the residence. Currently, there is a wooden deck behind my home, unattached. It is a 10 by 13. I would like to I've got a contractor hired to put in a composite deck. This wooden deck is old, has not been maintained or treated, and it is very slippery and dangerous when it's wet and humid. So he's putting in a non-slip composite deck, a 12 by 16. To my knowledge, my neighbors, we're a duplex, and we're attached, they're the only one that can see this deck from anywhere there, because I'm backed up against the fence that's at the Remington Court apartment complex. And I can't see that it's going to cause any kind of problems for any of my other neighbors within 300 feet of this residence. So I'm hoping that you will approve this for me so I can have a nice, safe deck to enjoy throughout the rest of my days.
Going to have some good neighborhood deck parties out there?
I would like to do that.
Good. Okay, that weighs into my decision. Make sure you share that with the community.
I certainly will. The HOA has given me all the approvals and everything, and I've got paperwork. If you needed to see any of it, I didn't know what to bring, because I didn't get the letter because my son is the one that owns the home, so I just am, voicing.
And that composite stuff's really nice.
It's lovely. You
it's-
don't have to do anything to it. It's fabulous, so,
It's the best.
all right.
Is there any other questions on this? No. Thank you for your presentation.
Absolutely, thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anybody else wishing to speak in favor of Appeal 25-14? Yeah, come on up. You just want to get invited to the parties.
Better. My name is John Robinson, and I live at 114 Greenwood Court, which they're duplexes or condos, whichever one to call them. I'm under the same roof as Jan, and she's right next to me. I've lived there since 2015. The existing deck has been there since 2015 with little or no repair, as she said, and there was a railing, and that's been deteriorated and removed and by the person who owned it before her. And I think it would be a great improvement to our backyards, the area. Just in widen it by a couple foot and 3 foot the other way, there is still probably at least 20 foot or more behind it before you come to Remington Court privacy fence. There's no restrictions for the mowers to get in or do anything. And so I would recommend that you consider this. I think it would be a nice improvement, and I appreciate your time.
Great, thanks for
Thank you.
coming up. The best thing you can do to get something passed is find a neighbor to come up and speak that they're for it as well. So mission accomplished, you did well. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in favor of Appeal 25-14? Is there anybody in the room or online that wishes to speak in opposition to Appeal 25-14? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing, and I'll take a motion.
I make a motion to approve 2514.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Donna, would you please call for the vote?
Adam Gersbauer,
Yes.
Joel Dindu,
Yes.
Denise Graves.
Yes.
Chris Torty.
Yes, and Appeal 25-14 passes. Thank you for your presentation. Is there any old business?
None,
New business?
none.
Privilege of the floor? Don't hear it. I'll call for an adjournment.
So moved.
We're adjourned. Thank you all. Enjoy this weather.